Good morning, children. In the previous session, I introduced to you the new kings and kingdoms, where we have discussed about the administration and kind of kings, new kings they have emerged during the 7th to 12th centuries. Children, we have learned about many types of administration, and we also have learned the foreigners, the foreign invasion on India, and which was protected by the Chauhan kings like Prithviraj Chauhan, and there was a looting of the Somnath temple by Muhammad Ghazni, the Sultan of Muhammad Ghazni. The Sultan of Ghazni, that is Muhammad Ghazni. And we also have learnt about Ghori's attack on India, and he was defeated in the hands of Prithviraj Chauhan, and later in 1192 AD, Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated in the hands of Ghori himself. Now today we shall learn about the Cholas. Okay, yesterday I told you about the Rashtrakutas, who were the subordinate kings of the Chalukyas, and Danti Durga has performed a yagna called as a Hiranyagarbha, a golden womb. And we also have learnt about tripartite struggle. Today let me move on to the part 2, that is about the Cholas. We are going to learn about the Cholas today. Chola rule is one of the well documented in the history of the South. So let us see how they became successful rulers in India. From Urayur to Tanjavur, how did the Cholas rise to power? A minor chiefly family known as Muttaryar. Please remember these names. Muttaryar held power in the Kaveri Delta region, okay, and they were subordinates to the Pallava kings. These were subordinates to Pallava kings, who the Muttaryar was subordinate to the Pallava king, and Muttaryar is a person who is going to establish the Chola empire in the future. See. So of Kanchipuram, Pallava king's capital was Kanchipuram, and Vijayalaya, who belonged to the ancient chiefly family of the Cholas from Urayur, captured the delta from the Muttaryar in the middle of the 9th century. It was in the 9th century middle, the Vijayalaya, who is the founder of Chola empire, Vijayalaya has defeated this Muttaryar, and he captured the Kaveri Delta region, and he is the founder of Chola empire. In the middle of the 9th century this happened. He built the town of Tanjavur and a temple for goddess Nishimba Shuddhi temple also he built. The successors of Vijayalaya conquered neighboring regions, and the kingdom grew in size and power slowly, and the Pandyan and the Pallava territories to the south and north were made part of his kingdom. And Rajaraja I, considered to be the most powerful Chola ruler, and he became the king in a turn. So he became the ruler in 985 AD. Rajaraja Chola I. In 985 AD, he became the king, and he is one of the most powerful king of Chola empire. And he expanded his control over most of these areas, and he also organized his administration and the empire. And Rajaraja's son is considered as a Rajendra I. His son is Rajendra I. So Rajendra I is continued his policies, and he even raided the Ganga Valley, Sri Lanka, and countries of Southeast Asia also he raided, developing a navy for these expeditions. So they built splendid temples and bronze sculptures. The big temples of Tanjavur and Gangaikonda Cholapuram, built by Rajaraja and Rajendra I, are architectural and sculptural marvels. Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple and the Tanjavur temples show the architectural splendid work of the Tanjavur. And Chola temples often became the nuclei of settlements, the center of the settlements, which grew around them. They were also the centers of craft production. Temples were also endowed with land by rulers as well as by others. They used to donate generously for the sake of temple development. The produce of this land went into the maintaining the specialists who worked in the temple and very often lived in it. And priests, garland makers, cooks, sweepers, musicians, dancers, these all are the people who are directly involved in the temple administration, and they were for their livelihood they are dependent upon the temple. So temple was a center. Even for education also, temple was a center. In other words, temples were not only the places of worship, but also the hub of the economic, social and cultural life of the people. Among the crafts associated with the temples, the making of bronze images. Bronze has come to be a metal after iron, and bronze metals sculptures were more distinctive images, considered to be the finest in the world, prepared by the Cholas. And while most images were of the deities of dance, that is Nataraja, and some images of devotees were made as well with the bronze. Many of the achievements of the Chola were made possible through the new developments in agriculture. And if you look at the map, you will again notice that the river Kaveri branches off into several streams. That is, the delta region is nothing but it cut into different streams. Before emptying itself into the Bay of Bengal, the streams overflow frequently, bring lot of silt. Water from the streams also provide the necessary moisture for agriculture, and particularly the cultivation of rice is abundantly seen in this region. And although agriculture had developed earlier in other parts of Tamil Nadu, it was only during the 5th or 6th century that this area was opened up for a large scale cultivation. And forests had to be cleared in this region, land had to be leveled in other areas, and in the delta region, embankments were constructed, had to be built to prevent the flooding of the canals, had to be constructed, and they have to carry water to the fields by the channels. In many areas, crops were grown around the year. In many cases, it was necessary to water the crops artificially. A variety of methods were used for irrigation. In other areas, wells were dug, and in other places, huge tanks were also constructed. Like in Plateau region, you know it very well, which is rocky surface, we have constructed the tanks, and in order to collect the rainwater. So irrigation works require large planning, organizing labor and resources. Maintaining these works also require deciding factor and how water is to be shared. So whereas in our state we have a person in the village called as Neerati, Neeru Katte Manishi, who will regulate the usage of the water. Most of the new rulers as well as the people living in these areas took an active interest in these activities. And coming to the administration part, the king had a council of ministers to help these people. He had a strong army as well as navy. The empire was divided into mandalams. The entire empire is divided into mandalams. And these mandalams were further divided into Valnadus. And these Valnadus are further divided into Nadus. So the empire is divided into Mandalam, Mandalam is divided into Valnadu, and Valnadu is divided into Nadus. Nadus are nothing but the streets. So the Chola administration, the nuclei of the entire administration was in the temple, and the temples were the centers of socio-economic growth, and settlements of peasants known as Ur. The peasants where they get settled are called as Ur, and these became very prosperous with the spread of the irrigated agriculture because it is a delta region, and groups of such villages formed larger units called as Nadus. Ur became Nadus, and few Nadus became Valnadus, and Valnadus will become Mandalams. So the village council and the Nadu performed several administrative functions, including the dispensing of justice. Even in villages we have many gentlemen who sit under the tree and give the judgments. So if there is any small dispute, they never allow the police to come and inquire into it. So that kind of dispensing the justice and collecting the taxes was a very important thing, and rich peasants of Vellala caste exercised considerable control over the affairs of the Nadu under the supervision of the Chola central government. The Chola kings gave some rich landowners titles like Muvendala, a Vellanar peasant serving the it's a title given for the persons who used to collect the rich tax So they used to give them the titles like Muvandalam or Aryar, who is considered as a chief, as markers of respect, and entrusted them with many kinds of important offices of the state at the center. For example, the types of land which they have granted as a donation, they used to call like this. Velan Vagai means the land which has been given to the non-Brahmin people. Brahmadeya, the land which has been given to the Brahmins, is called as Brahmadeya. Or Shaila Bhoga, the land which has been given for the maintenance of school, is called as Shaila Bhoga. Or Devadana, which is the land gifted to the temples. So these are the lands which have been donated generously by the Chola kings in order to bring everybody under their control. So the remaining part of this Chola administration and what kind of council, how they used to get elected to these councils through a process, we shall see in the next class.